Oh, yeah. It's a big, ugly, hairy 800-pound thing that will hold me down, that will wrench my guts, that will, infest my mind with even just horrible thoughts about myself. He's literally physically trying to hold me down and prevent me from doing what it is that I have to do.
This is The Growth Moment with your coach, Amy Kay. Inspiration, ideas, and incredible insights for you to be more and do more. Get ready to grow today. Oh boy. Today we get to wrestle with a coaching staple, dealing with the inner critic, aka gremlins, the saboteur, the committee, or the trash-talking voices in your head. We all have them. From my youngest clients in high school and college, all the way up to my top-tier leaders across the world. Inner critics range from annoying to absolutely ruthless and dangerous. They weigh us down and hold us back. Think about yours for a moment. Where does the inner critic hold you down? Stop your progress, make you hesitate, doubt yourself, show up as less than who you really are. Right now in your life, are you scared to go after the cool job, promotion, business idea, a new relationship, health or fitness transformation, your biggest dream? Where are you second guessing yourself? How is the voice in your head lately? Positive and encouraging, or bitingly negative and demoralizing? In a moment, we get to dive into inner critic territory with today's guest, Scotty. Scotty is an amazing creative force. He is an actor, writer, musician, and producer. Seriously talented, he has found success both in Canada and now in New York City. But listen how, even with success, the inner critic shows up to try and drag Scotty down. As he puts it, even when I'm wanting to create with 150% of my being, I start to fall into old habits, procrastinating, holding back. It's literally physically debilitating. This, my friends, is a classic inner critic description. I know you have your own inner critics, gremlins, demons. As you listen to Scott's growth moment, pay attention to what comes up for you. If you can, jot down some notes about when and how your critic shows up, its impact on your ability to be at your full potential, and what is possible if you truly get it out of your way. Remember, there are show notes for this episode that have reminders, questions, tools, all there for you. Let's jump in as Scott starts to describe more about the weight of his inner critic and the chokehold it can have on the fresh, free, creative flow he really wants. When you talk about that personal growth and feeling blocked, what is that like?
I don't know, that I just don't, what's the best way to put it? That I don't have a comfortable grip on the ball as I'm carrying it. That I feel like that it's either it's in a chokehold. That's one version, like where having moved here to New York and trying to, of course, get myself up on my feet here. And I think while I do commend myself for doing a great job of, we've talked about this, of community and building all that and really getting in there and digging my heels in. Yeah, it's just still not where I want it to be. So one thing that happens is I procrastinate, I fall back on old habits, I go down the hole, I disappear in certain ways. And then in other ways, I just worked recently, and while, we're always coping with nerves and in newer situations or where we have to put ourselves out there, it can be physically debilitating on me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, where all of a sudden I'm the other day, I was shooting something, and day one of work, and I was walking out and I felt like 500 pounds. And it dissipated over time, right? It went away, but it was clearly something I was doing to myself. And I think that's also part of it. That's a big block too, There's stuff that's there and wants to come out. But there's a lot of that, there's that fear and that doubt,
But how do you want it to be?
You mean the whole experience?
Yeah. So if it's not chokehold and it's not 500 pounds, and how do you want it to be, Scotty?
I'm I'm always wanting it to be a newer experience each time in whatever situation, not even with work, just with each day, right? I want to feel like that I'm not stepping back into the same footprints and doing what I've done before, that I'm always pushing myself out, that I'm going further, that I'm growing and evolving, you know? And I think that when that stuff starts to happen, these are all old things that I can feel again and literally sometimes feeling like they're weighing me down. And I'm not working at my optimum level, or I'm even at my optimum person in certain situations, even socially, I can feel blocked sometimes too, which is, we all do.
So the way you want it to be, if I'm hearing you, is fresh,
Yeah.
as if it's your first day again.
Yeah. Each time. Yeah.
It's not your live today like it's the last day on earth. Live today instead as if it's your first day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brand new Scotty. No old patterns, no weight, no just detritus on top of you.
Yeah. Well, we can feel like our own kind of, shackles and weights and chain, the things that, right? The fear, how it just manifests itself in all these different ways.
And so if I was going to dive right into that, I'm asking right now, what are some of those biggest old patterns that you're ready to jettison for real now?
I think one of them is whether, we're talking about New York or even my relationship, my marriage, my, whatever it may be, that I don't deserve it. That's a big one. That I'm very aware of. And I think that's also being at work the other day and the weight pulling me down too, as I'm dragging my feet to set, that I'm going, I don't deserve to be here.
And yet there you are, yet here you are in New York, yet here you are at so many things that you have set up and created, so many successful, think of all the people who would kill to be where you are.
Sure. Yeah.
People in the industry.
It's so funny, right? They could roll out the red carpet. You've got the trumpet fanfare and everything, and you're still standing there.
Right. You're looking sharp. You got somebody on your arm there, and you're in your head.
I don't belong here.
Dragging your feet up the red carpet.
That's right. I don't deserve to be here. Yeah. I'm 500 pounds.
You artists, actors, creators, producers, geez, you're a piece of work, man.
I know. No, never enough. I know.
All right. So that I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to be here. How much weight? So you said 500 pounds. How much is that one?
I mean, you could be 500 pounds, 800 pounds. It's remarkable. It's such a debilitating feeling,
Let's take a quick pause. Notice what we've been doing here. It's all about dialing up the awareness around the inner critic, gremlin, etc. Not brushing over it or thinking that's just life, just the way it is. The awareness enables you to start separating from the crap in your head. Step aside, see it for what it is, and to get the full impact. That's when Scotty's critic went from 500 to 800 pounds. And the realization hit that with the inner critic in charge, nothing is going to ever be good enough. Maybe you share the I don't deserve it message, or the you are never enough. Or maybe your critic has a whole different negative campaign. See what comes up as you raise your awareness. Now, let's listen in again as Scotty goes way deeper in his awareness before he's ready to shift. This is no joke. It takes real work.
Physically, mentally, of course, it's kind of remarkable as a hurdle too, that I can even get to the point of working sometimes. But then you do, and then things start to happen, and
Well, and what happens when you start to work? Does the weight lift? Do you start to feel something else besides I don't deserve to be here?
Yeah, like suddenly, if I've done the work, the kind of work that I'm doing, if I'm prepared, I trust in myself that it's all there. I just have to get over that hurdle. And sometimes, in the case of certain work situations, you're just under the gun. You have to show up at that certain moment. You don't really have a choice. It's not like I can put it down and walk away for an hour. So suddenly you're there, or even in social situations, whatever they might be, you can't, in some situations you can't necessarily get up from the dinner table and just leave if you're feeling that.
You're feeling that weight, that drag.
Yeah, I don't belong here. People don't want you. Sure. in terms of getting past it, I know, I mean, you gave me something a long time ago that was really great that I always try to go back to, which is, I think you called it, can I share this? I'm sure I can.
Of course.
This is
Cheers.
Amy Gold. It was love and release, I think is what, wait,
Ah,
you remember this?
yep.
So a lot of it too, and I actually used this the other day. Of course I did. It's where you take those, what we did anyways, we took the gremlins out and we really looked at them, gave them names, and then recognized them for who they were and what they were doing, and
Mm,
all the right things that they were doing in terms of protecting me,
mm,
loving them and going thank you, acknowledging them, being full of gratitude for the fact that those, we'll call them blocks, fears, gremlins, whatever they are, and then releasing them and saying, guys, I gotta work. I gotta do this thing. I gotta be 150% here. So thank you for everything that you've done. I love you. You gotta clear a path, or you gotta go.
So, of course, I love your self coaching, the realizing it's almost reaching in your pocket and say, "Oh my God, I had $100 in here. I forgot that I already had my money."
Right, right. It was something that was developed. Though. It was you. They gave me that. That's something that I've carried in the hip pocket. So that does help me get. It definitely helps me get through. Start working through all that for
So,
sure.
today in this growth moment, if you can really walk away with something all along this line so you can flow into 150% more often, what do you want to walk away with?
I think I want to tackle and look at more of this stuff in the face and just get down to it more and really get like maybe line them up again, or whatever I have to do.
That's what I'm feeling, Scotty, is that, it's crazy to think that we can do our maintenance once in our life. Oh, great. A couple years ago, Amy and we cleared out my inner critic. It was awesome. And then I thought I'd never have to do it again.
Yeah.
Eh.
I know.
This is ongoing maintenance, not one time only.
And it's funny, right? Because you're so right. Because I feel like you can even have such success in diminishing. I would use that word, right? Them for that particular thing, and then I will admit, yes, what you're talking about is very true. Then I might go for a stretch and go. And I've even said to my wife, "I'm not battling that anymore. I don't feel like I got that problem. Everything's great."
I'm
And
good.
sure enough, I show up at work the other day and I weigh 500 pounds, right? And you go, "Oh yeah, this guy. Oh yeah,
All right, so let's go ahead. Are you ready? We're
yeah,
gonna we're
yeah."
gonna pull them out.
All right.
So you can stick them up on stage, put a spotlight, a Klieg light on him. Tell me about this guy who's come back around, jumped on your back. Who do we have?
Oh yeah, he's like it's a big, ugly, hairy 800-pound thing that will hold me down, that will wrench my guts, that will infest my mind with thoughts of, and I'm just speaking very freely here. I'm trying to be as open as I can.
Yes.
Infest my mind with even just horrible thoughts about myself. It'll do things like it'll make me convince myself that I'm getting sick. That was another issue that came up. It's of course because I was working and during this time,
Sure.
the anxieties are a little higher for everybody, but even with all the proper protocols in place,
So what was this 800-pound guy literally saying to you?
you're sick. You're getting sick. You're gonna be the one that's gonna walk into work and spread COVID. So,
Mm.
and all this stuff getting in the way of, again, the work that I have to do, right? The day before that, I might have physically felt like I was describing this thing in the back of my legs. Like it literally had my legs. And I thought, first I thought I didn't sleep very well, or maybe I slept funny or something. And then as the morning went on, I went, no, that's the
That's that
800-pound thing.
freaking guy.
He's telling me that I can't, it's literally physically trying to hold me down and prevent me from doing what it is that I have to do.
So I'm just impressed at its tenacity, its persistence, its coming back, kind of giving a new run at the at the goal line with you, going, great, I'm going to tackle this guy. I know I can drag him back, even with everything he's achieved. I'm going to tell him it's all shit.
Yeah, but in the way that you're describing too, where I certainly didn't think I had this one licked, but where I thought it wouldn't be doing that to me anymore.
Mm.
And I think part of it had to do with the fact that it had been a while. We've been hunkered down with lockdown. So I hadn't worked in a while. And I think that was part of me playing with myself and going, yeah, you got it, and then it's all downhill from there. You start going, well, wait, I haven't worked, and and again, he starts to creep into the mind. It starts to work all those things, right?
Let's see what else he had to say. So you're getting sick. You're going to be the COVID super spreader. What's the line around this? You haven't worked in a while.
I think it's a very common one, where I had a really, really wonderful year last year, a number of creatively heightened experiences, and stuff lined up for this year. Then, of course, we started to drop out around March, I guess it was. Kept myself creative, of course, as much as I could on Zoom and
really rallying.
And yep. I think you and I even spoke in that time. And you connected me actually with some theater folk out your way and, all that stuff. We were doing all these things, connecting, reading, developing, and adapting like everybody does. So that was keeping the creative juices flowing. This was the first time that I physically left the house to go and shoot something on television. So it had been months, just months, but still months. And even though I think there was, again, this thing playing out in my head that, oh, you've only been Zoom acting, you haven't really been working the right muscles, that, again, the brain, he's got many voices.
Well, and the fascinating thing about Gremlin's Inner Critics is that they never stop working. Even when they look like they've been quiet or they're diminished or maybe gone, they've just been in the background, polishing, practicing, preparing for a fresh campaign. So one thing, Scotty, I want you to really see is how are you going to keep your awareness of the kind of situations where the gremlins are going to love to swoop in and, to not be so, I don't know, cavalier or unaware that, of course, you're going back, quote, to work after months, prime time.
Yeah, I didn't. That's a great point. I was not prepared for that. So it hit hard. And certainly never to the point where I didn't think I was going to be able to do what I was going to do. It was just, again, like you're saying, it's just something that.
But the chokehold, it's not your free, fresh flow.
Yeah. And I'm going, I can't work like this. I don't want to work like this. So what do we have to do here?
All right, pull him out right now, right in front of you. Seeing him for who he is. What do you want to thank him for? Why was this 800-pound guy showing up this time?
Well, I mean, even if he's going as far as to weighing me down so I felt like I physically couldn't walk to where I had to go. I feel like, again, he's just trying to protect me from some idea.
Yeah, his idea, his deal is he doesn't care about your fresh free flow and your creative production and you being everything you can be. He is just trying to keep you literally in the house so that you'll never be rejected or fail again by virtue of non-participation. Like if you don't show up, nobody can think you're crappy.
That's right. That used to even go so far as to, even with the work, and this is something that, I've always felt great shame about, but I can easily admit and would love to share, is it would even prevent me from working hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'd be easier for me to step back. And I didn't realize this for years, right? That it'd be easier for me to step away from it and go, well, it wasn't good, but then again, I didn't work that hard.
I didn't really put myself out there.
Exactly. And I never realized I'd been doing that to myself for so long, And similarly with this.
God, Gremlin's critics are so relentless, tricky, morphing, and changing their message to get you one way or the other. Look how they can pour out in specific situations, new challenges, or instead those back to situations, back to work, back to school, back to old friends. The critic has been preparing the whole time to hit you hard. And then Scotty shared a classic gremlin tactic. I see this so often with clients of all ages and stages. The don't try too hard, don't really put yourself out there. That way, if you fail, you have an excuse. Are there places in your life where your inner critic is holding you back, but actually trying to protect you. Now for the big shift. Scotty gets to use that tool he mentioned earlier, love and release, the amazing ability we all have inside to lead a transformation. Let's go back in for Scotty's shift. Yeah, feel how this guy is, even by dragging you, saying, don't try too hard, don't work too hard, don't fully flow. And let's give it a shot. Can you thank him for caring about your, precious ego?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're doing everything that you think you're supposed to be doing. I'm more than appreciative for that.
Do you need him?
No. And I'm not going to be scared of him. I can see him right in front of me right now. I mean,
Yeah.
he's almost 3 times my size, He's a
Jeez.
big one. Yeah. But he's also an extension. He's me,
I know.
I could see him. I mean,
It's the weird.
I wish I could describe him as some, horror
No,
monster.
it's just
It's
you.
me. I could see, yeah, and it's a scared me. I'm very, very,
Oh,
very scared.
so I'd like you to focus in on that, the scared part.
Yeah.
How big is it now as you focus on the underlying scared
Scared
piece?
piece. This is interesting as I feel that I was cradling him the other day in my hands.
Ah,
About the size of like I want to say a premature baby
yeah,
that
yeah, really
exists
small.
right underneath my belly button. That's where the feeling is. That's where the fire is that I feel, that feeling that, the whoop, the whatever you want to call it, the dancing men in the stomach that happens.
Yeah, the butterflies and the nervousness versus anticipation versus
And the
excitement.
hurt too is all
Yeah.
in there, all down in that area. So, but that's where my hands go if I feel like I have to give myself some loving.
So now we get, here's the loving part. This big 800 pounds is super protecting around a very much smaller,
Yeah.
vulnerable,
Vulnerable. Yeah, you're right. I never even thought of that. Yeah.
big and bold and insistent. So again, thankfully
Mhm.
protecting this very precious part of you.
Yeah.
Scotty, what is this inner precious part that lives right below your belly button and that, yeah, is the seat of the fire and the anticipation and all the creative energy down there in Eastern tradition, that's your lower chakras. That's literally the seat of creation.
Is that right?
Yeah. So here's what flew into my mind. What's a different way to protect that space? So the 800-pound guy is going, I'm going to protect it by just not letting you ever use it, do anything, just keep you at home. What's a different way to nurture and protect that seed of incredible creative force?
I mean, I don't know if I'm just going from my gut here or I'm just thinking about it. I can't tell, but I feel like it would be the opposite, where instead of shrouding it in something big and heavy and cumbersome and monstrous to protect it, that in fact it just needs to be open, free, released, let go,
Mm.
150%. Right.
Yeah, it's like keeping a little baby all locked up or letting it be in the world to grow and develop and take steps and
Yeah. And not, yeah. Wow. What a crazy, beautiful analogy, of kind of being my own overprotective parent or something.
yeah, I'm really feeling it right now of that putting it all in a bubble versus how would you put it, Scotty? What's the blessing or the permission that you would give instead?
To myself.
Hmm.
To not,
Yeah, I'm just going to stop you. Go a lot deeper. Go down into your belly. Go down into your gut. You are way up in your head.
mm,
Put your hands there.
yeah. Well, what I'm feeling when I did that, there's so much so much of it is just about believing in myself. So much of it, that's what came up
And
first.
Scotty, I really want you to look at the difference between believing in your output, your performance, your achievement versus believing in that precious seed, that precious part of you. There's the difference.
Yeah, right.
Believing in your child of what they're eventually going to do versus their life given right to get to try to do it.
To get to do it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of belief there, you know, all along.
So maybe it's less about, I don't know if this is right, toss it back if it's not, less about, or maybe it is just, I deserve to be here. I am here. I deserve the chance to just grow and develop.
Yeah, I think that is it.
So play with that for a moment of where you can, without hesitation, own the deserving.
Mhm.
What part becomes clear?
Well, then I start feeling different. I'm feeling I felt like my whole body from that point in the stomach up towards my chest, everything started to feel like it lit up, you know.
Hmm. And just feel it right now, down from the belly, moving all the way up through your heart, through your voice, through your eyes, right out the top of your head, out to the world. You deserve to grow and develop, for your soul to evolve. It's not about anything else, about any other deserving.
Mhm.
What are you noticing? And if this part, we want to toss it and try something else, that's fine.
No, I can feel my whole body right down to my tips, my toes. I have an awareness of flow in my body.
Now, that's how no chokehold, no dragging back, just you deserve to grow, develop, evolve, no matter from the red carpet to when you wake up in the morning, any place you show up to create fresh, free, brand new. It's not about the achievement. Do you deserve that or not? It's just really being Scott. Wow. Scotty's shift started when he figured out what his critic was really up to, protecting him from failure, from rejection, and that there were other ways to nurture and protect that vulnerable inner source of creativity. It didn't have to be a big, ugly 800-pound monster. We all have the inherent capacity to shift, transform the inner critic. Usually, we just need some patience, space, a little time to sort through it. Often, you have to get out of your head and into your body, heart, intuition. Like when I had Scotty put his hands on his stomach. There are endless ways to deal with the inner critic. What I did with Scotty today is just one. And coaching is never cookie cutter. What worked for him might not work for anyone else. Coaching is all about following you, finding the breadcrumbs to the right solution this time. With that said, shining the spotlight on the critic is always valuable. Don't ignore them and figure they'll go away on their own. They only get stronger. It's when you put the critic front and center, visualize it, describe it, start to analyze what they're up to. This leads to a breakthrough or epiphany. Scotty's epiphany was that his critic was trying to protect him, keeping him at a half hearted effort so he didn't risk too much. Think about where this shows up for you. Where are you holding back, procrastinating, or thinking you don't deserve success? It could be anywhere in your life: health, wealth, career, relationships. Take a moment to jot down some of your inner critic's techniques, key messages, and impact. Where do you see some old, crappy, limiting beliefs? like Scotty's I don't deserve success. Scotty's new empowering belief is I deserve the chance to grow, develop, and evolve. It was that idea that opened the door to his full creative flow again, the 150%. What is your new empowering belief? Make sure you are recognizing your own creative force, nurturing your capacity for brilliance and your next level growth. You absolutely deserve to grow and evolve. Go get the latest episodes, show notes, tools for you, and subscribe at thegrowthmoment.com. Email me if you want your own growth moment. Get out there and grow today.